Today, on Be Something Wonderful, I remembered it wrong. This changed my life overnight, literally. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Amazing few days here. I'm getting emails from clients and subscribers that said, you know, this video really clicked with me, or this changed things. And this is the same with a session that I had yesterday with this woman that said that her boyfriend. So here's the situation. Her boyfriend is a key person in this small company. He started 2 years ago, and he joined the founder and his wife. And he was sort of being groomed as the number two. And for the first 2 years, of course, he's only been there 2 years, the founder would have a retreat, a 3-day retreat, very important. They talk about strategy, they talk about all sorts of things, around the founder's birthday. But here's the thing. The founder's birthday is on the same day as his girlfriend's birthday. So it was always around his girlfriend's birthday. And she resisted, right? The first 2 years, she was pushing against it. Right? She was resisting it, she was reacting to it, she was complaining about it. And then what happened? Well, not only did they have corporate retreats around her birthday, but other important things that they wanted to do. It found that he always had to work, always had to be at work, or something was coming up at work that was really important, because it's an early stage company. He's with the founder, and it just seemed like she was creating, hear this, a reality of even more events to complain about, of even more events to react to. So that's the stage. I want to set the stage for the session today, because what happens? Well, this year seemed like it was no different, except she goes, I got it. I'm going to accept it. And I'm not just going to accept it and tolerate it. I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to bring it in and look at this differently. I'm going to remember it differently. She was just remembering how it used to be, right? How he wasn't prioritizing her, how he was putting the company ahead of her, right? All of this are the assumptions that she was creating, right? She thought about it differently. That really he is putting her ahead of her, and they do get together when he gets back, and it's always marvelous. And as she did that, so her husband has his bags packed, right? Has his bag packed, and then they go to sleep. The next morning is a birthday. He apparently has to fly out for this retreat. So he gets up in the morning and goes, "Well, your bags aren't packed?" She goes, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "We're going away." She goes, "No!" It was amazing. He just was playing that on, that he was going on the retreat. It was actually, they've changed it. They're no longer doing it around his birthday. They're changing the retreat dates to more be in line with the founding of the company around that date. And so now, so he goes, "Why aren't your bags packed?" And here's the big thing here. The founder knew, and he's a good person. He would express to the founder that it's his girlfriend's birthday, but the founder knew he was doing it for him. The founder changed that really for him. He's become that important in the company that they're changing when they're going to do the retreat so he can spend it, because he knows that she's a priority for him. Do you see how she switched it? She changed the story. She bent time. She remembered it differently, and it changed everything. This is big. This is what she said. "I finally get what you mean by accept unwanted conditions as one quantum possibility. In my acceptance, I create and move to a new desired script and reality in that moment." She got it. She understood it. She created that. She moved to a new reality, a reality where that retreat is not on her birthday anymore, where they are going away. Pretty cool, guys. All my complaining, all my pushing, all my reacting created those conditions. She's getting it that it was always possible not to have that retreat around the founder's birthday or on her birthday. That Option was always there, but she created it by her complaining, pushing. She created those events. Remember, you create it all before the events even happen. All of that, and then she's complaining about it, and she's putting it there, right? She goes, "You're so right. I put them there first." Wow, right? She had this huge realization. I was only remembering that he wasn't making us a priority. I remembered it wrong. As soon as she started remembering, he really does make us a priority. He really is doing his best. He really wants to spend time with me. All of that changed everything. I want to hit this and wrap a lesson around this today. Remember, hear this. You're either consciously creating what you want, or someone else is. What do I mean by that? You're either choosing or assuming who and what you are, or temporary thoughts and feelings, inner conditions, or people, events, and circumstances, outer conditions, are choosing for you. In other words, that greater subconscious. The script is having its way with you. Conditions are having their way with you. Temporary thoughts and feelings are having their way with you. And you're creating that reality. This is big. So when you want only love, you'll see nothing else. When you want only to see your desired reality, as she did. She always saw him as putting her as a priority, as really trying hard, as really doing everything he can to make it happen. That's all she would see now. That's all she sees. And I'm sure as we get together again for other coaching sessions, she's going to say all those other events that used to come up are not coming up anymore. She's changed everything. She's changed not just the present. She's changed the past and the future. She changed all time with this. She's remembering him differently. It creates a whole new, remember, you're a reality generator, as Genevieve Davis would say. You're projecting realities, creating them in every moment with your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. New timelines, new realities of past, present, and future, quote, events. But remember, everything's happening now. So when you assume you are already that person that you want to be, you will see nothing else. When you want only love, you'll see nothing else. Of Course in Miracles, when you assume you are already that person you want to be, you'll see nothing else. When she moved into that assumption, that new identity of a person that knows that everything's working out, that her boyfriend's actually putting her as a priority, that they are together, that she creates her own reality, that her assumptions of belief create her own reality. That's all she saw. Your assumptions and beliefs are the only reality. It can be no other way. She really got this. We had such a fun discussion of this yesterday. We went into all sorts of things. Remember, reacting, complaining, and criticizing, when you do any of that, you surrender your free will to that someone or something else. Remember, either you are creating your reality or someone or something else is. Those conditions, those temporary conditions of inner thoughts and feelings and assumptions are outer conditions. All of that, the greater subconscious is pulling you. You're getting taken by the script. Instead, wake up and then follow the script. Create your own reality while you follow that script, right? Free will is only freedom of choice. Neville Goddard. Your illusion of free will is but ignorance of the causes which make you act. What are the causes? Remember, that greater subconscious, whatever you're assuming, whatever you're believing, is what creates reality. That drives everything. Your assumptions and beliefs. Her assumptions and beliefs that she's not a priority, that it's going to happen again, created all of that. And as she reacted and complained and criticized, she surrendered her free will to that something or someone else, to those conditions, to those false assumptions, to those limiting beliefs, right? Remember, you create the very conditions, people, and events you're reacting to, complaining about, and criticizing. You put those very conditions there. They're not there and you're complaining and criticizing, reacting to them. You put them there. By your reacting, by your complaining, and by your criticizing. Wow. Very powerful. So remember, persistent focus on and awareness of your wish fulfilled, desired reality, an ideal version of yourself creates reality and your entire life experience. This created her entire life. It happened literally overnight. That's why I was saying she woke up and he said, why aren't your bags packed? Overnight. Do you see it? That's what I mean by that. It's kind of a fun play on words, but it did happen overnight. When she shifted, when she thought about it differently, it literally changed the fabric of reality, right? Your entire life experience in that moment, it changes and revises all time, present, past, and future, right? When you focus and you're only aware of your desired reality, your ideal version of yourself, you're looking at others in the way you want to see them. You're looking at conditions in the way you want to see them. You're seeing the greater reality behind all conditions. Inner conditions of temporary thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Outer conditions of people, events, and circumstances. You're seeing the greater reality in all of it. Your current thoughts, assumptions, beliefs, and focus. In other words, what you are aware of as awareness. Hear it again. Your thoughts, assumptions, beliefs, and focus. In other words, what you're aware of as awareness is the only reality. And therefore, 3D conditions, past, present, and future, must yield to your state of being. And we know that all conditions are happening now, that there is no past, present, and future, that it's all in this now moment. But we look at it that way because from a perceptual standpoint, we can only focus on 0.0001% of that reality at a time. So it gives us the experience of time, where we put that one slide, we say that's now in the past. I'm no longer focused on that. In the future slide, we pull to the present. Now I'm focused on that. But it's all now. It's all happening now. So remember, it's no time, no space. It's just now and just your assumptions. As you assume and believe differently, you are the center of your universe. You are the center of reality, of infinity, right? And as you believe and assume differently, you send out ripples of past, present, and future realities, events. You're a reality creator, new ones in that moment that now become your reality that you're focused on. Every time you're sending out new events, the past, present, and future are being created right now. New realities, new versions of you, new lifelines, new film rolls of past, present, and future frames. Yes, creation's finished. All of that exists in potential. But you're also creating new ones as you change your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Remember, infinity's finished, but it's always expanding. That's why it's called infinity. It could be no other way. That's the paradox of reality, right? And so it's expanding at the same time. I remembered it wrong. This changed my reality literally overnight is because when she started remembering it differently, when she started creating differently, when she started believing and assuming it differently, your reality generated. You're creating new realities in that moment that you will move to, that you will experience, right? As you continue to persist in that new reality. I remembered it wrong. This changed my reality overnight, literally. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. We have a Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. You can visit us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, or just go to our website anytime at tomkearin.com or besomethingwonderful.com. With great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, creators, I'll see you soon.